concentration in '67, especially the last couple games of the season against Minnesota, was just at a high point. When I stepped in the batter's box, those last two games, I knew I was going to get a base hit. I knew I was going to do something to help the team win.
We all know what you did the final weekend. 7 for 8, throwing out Allison. You guys come from behind on that Sunday. What's your biggest takeaway from that weekend?
My biggest takeaway was throwing out Allison.
Huh.
Forget the 7 for 8, because Killebrew was up next.
Right.
I can remember going and cutting the ball off before it even came close to the wall down the left field line. And I knew I didn't have a play at third because I think Vasalis was running. You knew he was fast in that. But out of the corner of my eye, I saw Allison making a turn to go off a second. I said, I got him. Boom. And I think that was the biggest play, more so than the hitting, the last two games.
Little soft pop-up. Petroselli will take it. He does. The ball game is over.
In the midst of all that shaving cream and beer and ultimately champagne, what do you remember about that scene after you guys win? Is there anything, any conversation you might have had with somebody that really stood out?
When we came in off the field, we had a little celebration, but in the back of your mind, you were still thinking we might have to play tomorrow.
Right.
The one thing that we had going for us was Rigney, would pull out all stops. He had 3 guys warming up in the bullpen. I don't know where the third guy warmed up, wasn't on the mound and stuff like that. That's when we started to feel that we were going to be the champs of the American League.
And when you say you had Rigney, it's what you're saying is because you knew Rigney had that kind of respect for the integrity of the game, that even though that game didn't mean anything to the Angels, he was going to do whatever he could to beat the Tigers?
Yes, and I'm glad that Rigney was the manager because he was a fiery competitor.
Yeah. So game 1 of the World Series, you guys lose 2-1 to Bob Gibson. Pretty
great
fair
pitcher.
I was just going to say, pretty fair country pitcher, right? After that game, the writers who were doing their stories in the press box look out, and there's Carl Yastrzemski taking batting practice pitches from Joe Foy after game 1 of the World Series. Who does that, and what prompted you to go out there?
I just knew I wasn't swinging the way I should. So I went out, and batting practice had always helped me. I don't know whether it relaxed me, whatever, but I decided after the game that I would go out and take batting practice.
Did it help the next day? I
Yes,
think the
it did.
results suggest it did, right? How did 1967 change the Red Sox, and how did it change you?
1967 changed this whole organization, changed the fans, and as I said earlier, we became winners, the whole organization.